Now let's get into the discussion now. Controversies are already trailing the supplementary election in Adamawa State. And we still have in the studio an election observer, Nelson Kujumi, here in the studio. And nice to have you join us still.
Thanks
for staying back.
Thanks.
Okay. We'll also be joined by our senior political correspondent, Ayodele Ozumaku, who monitored the election in Yola. Ayo, are you there now? Good morning. It's good to have you join me.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning.
Great. All right. I am going to start with you for you to give us a background to what happened in the election before I come to Nelson here. Every TV station and every radio station online, everywhere has been a buzz with the developments in Adamawa State over the last, what happened from yesterday. Can you bring us up to speed? What really happened and why did we find ourselves in that situation?
I think this situation started from the first day, that's the 18th of March, when the governorship election was held. When they had around 21 local governments across the country, when we had a situation whereby they had their normal election and it went peacefully across the 21 local governments. I monitored the presidential election there. That was February 25th. I monitored the governorship election for 8th of March here. Now, after the election proper, except for some hiccups, some areas, collation center not having light and some other logistics and everything. After the election proper that day on the 8th of March, we expected that, it would come the polling unit, from that polling unit, right to the ward units, to the local government, down to the state collation center. So the state collation center opened. We kept vigil at the state collation center, that's 18th of March, and results were trickling in from all the local governments. Now, after some time, we started hearing about Fufuri local governments, that all is not well with that local government, that there's breakdown of law and order there, that some other local government in Hong, in Jigire, that they had a situation whereby some thugs actually carted away or made away with the by Beaver's machine and from EC8A that they were meant to submit at the ward level. So later on, those reports came into INEC, and as other local government were coming in, they were reading it. So at the end of the day, we got to a situation whereby both the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressive Congress, there was this thing that just before, out of 21 local government, before announcing getting to the 13th local government, I just started seeing congratulatory messages all over the social media. Oh, Nigeria has the first female governor. Oh, Nigeria, congratulations. Depending on the interest. Oh, congratulations for the re-election of Governor Fitiri. And I was asking my colleagues that were there that we are the Independent National Electoral Commission, and they've not brought out these results. They've not finished reading these results. But the whole social media, we had these congratulatory messages. And I knew that something, was untoward at the end of the day. But on Sunday, on the 19th of March, after compiling the 21 local governments, the returning officer, that's Professor Mohammed Mele, that's the Vice Chancellor of the University of Maiduguri, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, beg your pardon, came and he looked at the margin of votes between the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressive Congress. And he discovered that, a certain party was leading with 31,000 votes, the PDP precisely. And the number of votes that were cancelled across the line, the cancelled votes and everything. So just 30,000 votes leads margin between APC and PDP. So as a result of that, when they look at the margin of votes that were cancelled from other local government and everything, the exercise was described as inconclusive. So we waited for the INEC headquarters to actually do something about it, because it is there in the guidelines, the electoral law, that when the margin of votes, the lead between the winner and the runner-up surpasses the number of cancelled votes, automatically they are going to call for a rerun. So we find ourselves fast forward to this rerun. Peaceful exercise. And not something about rerun is that rerun election or by-election, as one will have it, is that people's enthusiasm would have gone down. A lot of people will want to turn out. A lot of people are tired. Oh, we voted February 25th of February. We voted on the 18th of March, and we're tired of voting. But it wasn't like that in Yola. It wasn't like that in Adamawa State. The people I saw around Yola, especially Yola South local government, I covered Ajia, 001, 002, 003, and 004. The enthusiasm, people came out. Number one, don't forget that the fasting period, a lot of people would have just decided to stay back and monitor the listing from their homes and everything, so that they will concentrate on, your fast and everything. And as that Saturday, it was 44 degrees Celsius in Yola. It was so hot, but people defied all those odds. They came out and they voted. And by INEC officials, electoral officers, everybody, they got there before 8 a.m. By 8:30, they started the exercise. And throughout the exercise of where I monitored, throughout you had, from 8:30 to 2:30, you had a long stretch of queues. And it was counted at the polling units. We monitored it. Results were counted at the polling units till we got to the state collation center. And that night, they told me that, there's some areas that it will take 5 hours, Barafatory, to get there. That 5 hours go, 5 hours come.
You were talking to us and laying that foundation, bringing us up to speed with what played out before we lost your connection. Please round off on that so that we can go ahead.
Okay, we resumed collation by 10 p.m. And out of 69 polling units that we had from 20 local governments, we had election results from 10 local government area out of those 20 local governments. And we finished by quarter after 1 p.m., that's 1 a.m. in the morning, that's Saturday. So the consensus was that we come on 11 o'clock on Sunday and we'll finalize the 10th with my camera crew, OB van, OB van. We parked it at the office of the Independent National Electoral Commission, and the engineers, the driver, and the cameramen, they were on standby. That anytime they started, they kept vigil throughout the night. So on Sunday, we just noticed by 9 a.m., 2 hours before the scheduled time of 11 o'clock, the Independent National Electoral Commissioner, Resident Electoral Commissioner, Barrister, Yunusa, came with the DGSSS Adamawa State and the Commissioner of Police, and all armed. So the consensus was that, something was happening, and he came. He had a piece of paper in his hand, and he started in less than 5 minutes. He went through the results and everything, and he told us that by the power conferred in him, that he's declaring the All Progressive Congress as the winner, and he stated the figure as we showed you that video. So there were 2-3 agents in that room, and they were saying, no, you're fasting. You're not meant to do like this. We agreed 11 o'clock. Why are you doing this? Your conscience. At the point in time, somebody actually even pulled his clothes For you to see, it got so rancorous, but it had to be whisked away by security agents, and that was it. By the time it got to 11 o'clock, the whole hall, collation center, was now filled with agents, observers, and everything. And they were now waiting that, oh, the real thing will happen 11 o'clock. So it took the agent of the People's Democratic Party and some other parties to say, no, a resident electoral commissioner, you are not empowered to do this. It's never done. It's never done. That let's wait for the returning officer. That's Professor Mohamedou Mili, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Maiduguri. We waited till we saw the breaking news from the INEC headquarters that Festus Okoye just spoke to the media and said that, oh, they've taken over the responsibility, that these stakeholders, they went to Abuja yesterday. So the entire office was started immediately. And at the same time, while we were doing that, it wasn't up to 15 minutes. I just got wind of the Nigerian Television Authority from that. I saw Madam Aishatu Binani there. She was giving her acceptance speech, and she was thanking the people of Adamawa that, you know, for their support for the vote and everything. And there was confusion in the air. At the same time, some journalists went to Governor Fintiri, and Governor Fintiri said, oh, these results, they are already on the IREV of the Independent National Electoral Commission. That is a straightforward thing, that he is the winner of that election. So there's this confusion and air of uncertainty around Adamawa State now, Mike.
All right. Thank you for giving us that background for us to understand the build-up from the presidential election up until now. It puts everyone in the perspective. Well, Nelson, you also monitored the election from the build-up to the presidential election to the governorship election that was inconclusive, and then this one. I wonder what you make of this situation in Adamawa, where there is confusion, and a lot of persons said it's an embarrassment to INEC and even an embarrassment to Nigeria as a whole, especially for election observers who were monitoring or who were there to see what was going on.
Well, thank you very much. Once again, I must condemn the action of the Resident Electoral Commissioner for Adamawa State. What he did was an embarrassment to INEC as well as to our democracy, because one expects that by virtue of his position, he knows what the law says. According to Section 63 and 64 of the Electoral Act, as well as the INEC rules and guidelines, the collation and declaration of results, it is stated in black and white, must be done by the returning officer. We saw a situation during the governorship election in Rivers State, where the returning officer was seated with the REC, if you recollect. That was the March 19th, thereabouts. And the chief returning officer said he has been receiving threats that he's not going to announce any results. And the REC, they never deemed it fit to take over that responsibility because he knew he didn't have the pass to do that. They had to revert back to the headquarters in Abuja before a declaration was made. So I wonder what must have propelled the REC to have, embarked on an illegal exercise. And for me, it is very, very, gladdening that INEC Abuja, that's the national headquarters, responded immediately to say what the REC has done is null and void and unknown to law. And they also went for that, to condemn the violence unleashed on, two of its national commissioners. So for me, I must commend INEC for, rising up to the occasion because INEC is an institution set up by law, and they know that anything they do outside of the law, they are on their own. INEC has done, what is expected of, a responsible institution, that when you have an officer of your institution misbehaving, it is your responsibility to come up publicly and say, look, this is not, how we run our affairs according to law. What you have done is totally unacceptable. And, I'm happy that they have all been summoned to Abuja. Going forward, I think the REC of Adamawa State must face disciplinary action because he has brought the image of INEC to disrepute. You know, what he has done is totally unacceptable, totally, condemnable, inappropriate, reprehensible. I can go on and on with, all the adjectives in the world. So what he has done is not acceptable at all.
Now, Ayodele, let me come to you on this. I wonder what kind of tension the illegal announcement of Binani, I wonder what kind of tension it generated. How did people react to this when the news broke? You were there because you said you were engaging with other people and all of that. All of a sudden you saw messages going back and forth, and then you also saw on one of the national TVs the APC candidate giving an acceptance speech. But talk to us basically what people felt, what kind of atmosphere did that announcement generate in Adamawa State?
If you look at the figures, if you look at that, we have on ground, it's a close election. We have a state that is divided. 15 candidates actually ran in this race, but we have a state that is divided between the PDP and the APC. It's a close election. A governor cannot be there for 4 years, and we're talking about margin of 30,000. The candidate of the All Progressive Congress, that's Aishatu Binani, she has her people, and she's very, very popular. There's this sentiment out there. She's popular. The incumbent governor going around, seeing what he has done and everything on his own he has own people, they want him to come back. So there's this balance of power, and it divided states. While some people, when the information featured him that the REC has done what he did, because TVC actually broke the news around 9:30 a.m. yesterday. We were the only station that had that exclusive visuals that you saw. And that news immediately filtered in hotels, everywhere, parks, everybody, they were jubilating. And as you can see, the followers actually trooped to our house in jubilation, thinking that that's the final part. So far, somebody that INEC has.
We seem to be losing your connection there, your signal from where you are. Okay, let's come to the studio. Now, some persons listening to this will say that the APC governorship candidate, Aishatu Binani, shouldn't have given the acceptance speech knowing what the law says and knowing that her announcement was illegally done. Do you sense some level of desperation there?
Absolutely, because one expects that when a declaration of result is made, the representative of the party will relay the facts to the party as well as the candidate. One expects that the representative of the party who was present at the State Collation Center, will have noted that, look, the process or the mechanism through which this declaration was made, is not in tandem with the provisions of the law. It's like it's an exercise in futility. And one would have expected, the APC candidate to have been circumspect as well as the party to say, gentlemen and ladies, wait a minute, let us watch how events unfold, because what has happened there, is unknown to law, where the REC will be the returning officer. So I don't know what could have propelled them, to start this celebration, because what has happened there with regards to the conduct of the REC was an invitation to anarchy, because you can imagine tomorrow if the remaining results are collated and a winner is declared, you have given room for, for a lot of disgruntlement within the polity. And when results are being declared, results are declared according to local governments. There must be, there must be facts and figures. There must be the paperwork. You But somebody just coming up, and saying Nelson Ekujumi has won. By what margin? In which local government?
What are the figures?
What are the figures? So I'm at a loss, to rationalize why the APC candidates rushed, to make that assessment. But, knowing politics for what it is, you recognize that this is an election in which so much emotional, outbursts are being expressed. And at times when, when emotions, hold sway like that, people tends to do things that go against rationality and logic. And that is exactly what has happened in this case. The APC rushing out with a congratulatory message, as well as I even watched the road show. I don't think there was any need for that. The peace and tranquility of Adamawa State should be the uppermost in anybody's mind, no matter whether you are going to govern or not.
Okay. I think we have Ayodele back now. Ayo, you were giving us the sense of the kind of tension, the kind of atmosphere that followed the illegal announcement in Adamawa State earlier, before we lost your signal.
Yes, what I was saying that, politicians, when you look at the figures and the margin of victory and Saturday rerun, some analysts said it that, that rerun might just be an academic exercise. That if the governor has an head start of 31,000, and what was at stake for the rerun was 46,200. But when the number of people that collected TVC amounted to 36,350. So when you look at it, and somebody had 31,000 already out of 36,000, well, out of what is at stake is 36,000.
All right. We're going back and forth on this. But all right, let's come back to the studio. Now, I would like the producers to play the part where the man, the Resident Electoral Commissioner, was making that announcement again. I'd like us to pay attention to the security men that were sitting down there. I wonder what they're supposed to do. I'd like you to talk to us in that regard. Can our producers play that again for us to see?
Okay, it is now. Thank you very much.
The collation center for the rerun governorship election in Adamawa State resumed at about 10 p.m. on Saturday. Results from 10 out of the 20 local government areas where the supplementary election took place in the state were officially announced.
1, 2, 4.
They were Demsa, Yola South, Yola North, Lamode, Jada, Gaye, Song, Shelling, Maya, and Hong local government areas. From the results announced, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Governor Amadou Fintiri, scored 4,085 votes, while the All Progressive Congress, APC, flag bearer, Aishatu Dahiru Binani, got 3,128 votes. The Resident Electoral Commissioner, Hudu Yunusa, called for an adjournment till 11 a.m. on Sunday for official declaration of results from the remaining 10 local governments.
When we left here last night, around after 1, we are actually through with collation of 10 out of the 20 local governments that the election was held. We are expected to finish 10 of the local government when we agreed to return here 11 o'clock.
At about 9 in the morning, which is 2 hours before the scheduled time, the Resident Electoral Commissioner walked into the collation center with the State Commissioner of Police and the Director of the Department of State Services, DSS, in the states to declare winner when the process had not been concluded.
The APC scored the highest vote.
No.
And by that, Aishatu Binani is hereby hereby stand as elected as the governor of Adamawa State. Thank you very much.
Then pandemonium broke out.
The resident electoral commissioner Hudu came in with his son holding some papers. They came in here. The director SSS was here. The commandant of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense was here. The commissioner of police was here. So the Hudu went outside calling for media to come in.
The Residential Electoral Commissioner, that is REC in Adamawa State, Hudu, with police commissioner, DSS, and civil defense boss. He stands here and he now declared Binani the governor-elect.
It's way past 11 a.m., the time given by the Independent National Electoral Commission to resume collation. But a breaking news just came on the Twitter handle of the commission. The action of the REC is an usurpation of the power of the resident officer. It is null and void, of no effect. Consequently, the collation of results of the supplementary election is hereby suspended. This was signed by Barrister Festus Okoye, the National Commissioner in charge of Information and Voter Education of the Independent National Electoral Commission. So the fate of the governorship rerun election in Adamawa State is still hanging in the balance. Ayodele Zubaku, TVC News, Yola, Adamawa State.
All right. Now, we have seen that illegal announcement. Beside the resident electoral commissioner, the commandant of the civil defense corps, the commissioner of police, and all the security agents were there as part of that process. I wonder what you make. What roles can the security agents play at times like that?
Well, don't forget that the resident electoral commissioner, according to the Electoral Act as well as INEC rules, is in charge of INEC activities within that state. Okay. He mobilizes every stakeholder for every activity of the elections or INEC activities. The returning officer's role begins and ends only when he makes announcement of results. But the REC has a tenure for, say, 4 years. The returning officer tenure is just for the elections. It could be for a week, it could be for 2 days. So what has happened is that the REC, in line with his responsibility, has mobilized every stakeholder that, look, we're having this exercise. And by law, that is supposed to do that. But the only missing person on that table was the returning officer. Which was even the responsibility of the REC to ensure
that he was there.
That he was there. Because whatever the REC is to organize that venue, then he hands over the process to the returning officer
to perform his duty.
So that the security apparatus you saw there, they are performing their own responsibility to maintain law and order there. And their presence is required. So what the REC has just done, like the national headquarters rightly described it, was an usurpation of the powers of the returning officer, which the security agencies don't have a right to determine, because the commissioner of police reports to the Nigerian Police Force. The DSS reports to the DSS. The REC reports to INEC. That election is an affair of INEC, okay. Nobody else. Right. So what they have done there was to perform their own role in line with the demarcation of their responsibility. If a personnel of INEC now goes against the law, it is the responsibility of INEC to call him or her to order, and not the police or DSS or the civil defense, because it doesn't work for those institutions.
Okay. All right, let's get back to Ayodele, who is in Yola. Now, Ayo, the point there is INEC has calmed everybody down now, saying that that illegal announcement is null and void and of no effect whatsoever. We have seen that statement from INEC. We've also seen statement from the governor of Interior, who has calmed people down and saying that people shouldn't take the laws into their hands. Now, I wonder how the people are reacting now, as at this morning, from after the follow-up, after the INEC has issued a statement and the governor has issued a statement. What's the state of things now?
Not everybody will know the process of INEC. So some are jubilating, and both camps are jubilating. There's this confusion, air of uncertainty. So I got.
We can't seem to hear you. Okay, we'll come back to you. We'll be having this challenge from the signal from our senior correspondent there. Now, the Resident Electoral Commission and all of those who were involved in the conduct of the election have been summoned to Abuja. And by today, we expect that meetings will be held from the headlines and newspaper reports we have gotten and all the reports we got earlier. I wonder what kind of engagement you foresee that INEC will be having with the Resident Electoral Commissioner, and likely sanction maybe.
Yes, INEC will be investigating the circumstances surrounding this illegal act, as well as availing themselves with the facts of the election in order to take, the most appropriate steps according to law. Don't forget, when the election was declared inconclusive, the REC and the chief and the returning officer, had to make an announcement that, further decision on the next line of action will be taken by the national headquarters in Abuja. So the decision to schedule the election for April 15th on Saturday was not made by the Adamawa State REC of INEC. It was made by the national headquarters. So the national headquarters, being conversant with the provisions of the law, will look at the books and, based on legal advice, they will take the next line of action in order for them not to run foul of the law. That's what we expect. But, in doing that, I'm very sure, in inviting them, they want to hear their own side of the story. And in hearing their own side of the story, it must be backed with facts and evidences. When INEC put out a statement condemning the attack on its personnel, we all saw on its national commissioner. We all saw the video of the national commissioner. That is a fact. So what INEC is going to do is to avail themselves with all the available materials, that can aid them in taking a decision that is in consonance with the provisions of the law. That is what we should all expect.
Okay. I understand Ayo is back now. Ayo, I was asking you earlier, what's the state of things right now? How calm or not is Adamawa State now?
We have this air of uncertainty. A lot of people, while some others are claiming victory, PDP, APC, and the atmosphere, is very tense. They are hoping that the national headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission will actually come out on time to tell them where to go. Because the way it is now, all the documents that concern Saturday's election, and we take it to Abuja. So I expect Abuja, the people of Adamawa, to perform their responsibility.
I'm afraid, Ayodele, we have to leave it here now. I'm afraid we're finding it difficult to clearly hear what you're saying. So I'm afraid we have to leave it here. But we thank you very much for bringing us up to speed with the development in Adamawa State today, following the supplementary election over the weekend. Thank you very much, Ayodele, our senior political correspondent. And Nelson Ekujumi, thank you so much for coming as well.
Thank you very much for
and spending the whole morning with us.
Yes, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you.